Anyone can get faster. You may not be where you want to be right now, but the good thing is sprinting is a skill, and as with any skill, it can be developed. Anyone can become a master sprinter. Being a master sprinter doesn't mean that you're the best in the world. Being a master at something means that you're extremely skilled at what you do. So even if you're not an international or even a national level athlete, you can still become extremely skilled at what you do. So to become a master sprinter, you're going to have to go through the 4 stages of learning. Those are unconsciously incompetent, consciously incompetent, consciously competent, and then unconsciously competent. And to make this easy for us to remember, I'm going to name the phases clueless, newbie, athlete, and then master. Now let me break these down for you guys. That first stage, unconsciously incompetent, is where you don't even know that you don't know what you don't know, right? So you're not even aware that you're not good at sprinting. You're not even aware that there's a way to sprint. You're not even aware that there's a difference between sprinting and running. You just think that
sprinting is sprinting. It's easy. I can wake up and I can do that.
But if you're watching this video, you're probably not on that level. Now, level 2 is where you're consciously incompetent. It's where you realize,
okay, sprinting is a skill and I don't have that skill.
So you start to watch videos on YouTube, find coaches and other athletes that you can look up to, that you can learn from in order to better your skill. However, you realize actually there's a lot for me to learn and I don't actually know how to do this yet. You realize you don't know how to sprint, but you want to learn. Now, the third stage is where you're starting to get the hang of it, but you have to really put conscious effort in order to do the skill, right? So you have to really think about it. You can begin to execute the skills, you know, you're able to do some of the drills well, you're able to execute your phases a bit better, but you have to really put in a lot of conscious effort. It's not quite second nature just yet. You know how to do it, but you need a lot of input, maybe from a coach or others. Then you go on to that 4th stage of learning, the stage that you can begin to call yourself a master. Is that place where the skill becomes habitual to you. You've done it enough, you're very aware of your body and you're able to sprint correctly. Doesn't mean that you're perfect. There's always ways to improve. Even for the fastest person in the world, there's always ways to improve, right? But in terms of sprinting itself, the skill of sprinting, it is actually now second nature to you. It's actually natural for you. It's actually harder for you to try and do things wrong than it is for you to do it right. And so some versions of this learning model actually add a 5th stage where they say you're consciously, unconsciously competent. That's a bit of a mouthful. But the idea of this is where you're able to now teach others what you're able to do without thinking about it, right? So what you now find second nature, you're not able to pass it on to others. Like I said, anyone can become a master sprinter. Sprinting is a skill, and once you get to the level of unconsciously competent, you can begin to call yourself a master sprinter. But don't get me wrong, becoming a master sprinter is not something that happens overnight. Have you ever heard of the 10,000 hour rule? This is something that was popularized by Malcolm Gladwell in his book Outliers, The Story of Success. It's a great book, by the way, and I've linked it below if you're interested in having a read. But the idea of the 10,000 hour rule is that it takes on average around 10,000 hours to truly master a skill or to truly become an expert in something, right? So remember, sprinting is a skill. So based on this idea, what we're saying is that on average, it takes around 10,000 hours to truly master the skill of sprinting. And that's not just a 10,000 random hours, it's actually 10,000 hours of practice, specific and correct practice, right? It's kind of like that saying that we all know, perfect practice makes permanent. You might have known it as practice makes permanent, but actually it's perfect practice makes permanent. But like I said before, 10,000 hours is not a small amount of hours at all. It's not a small number, right? And so it's gonna take time and training. There's gonna be bumps in the road. There's gonna be things that fight for your time, things that fight for your attention. There's going to be things that maybe even discourage you sometimes, things that maybe even distract you. And so you're going to have to possess a very key trait, a very key characteristic that only the greats truly possess. So if you want to get faster and maybe one day become a master sprinter, then you're going to need tenacity. Hi guys, and welcome back to Fit with T. I hope you guys are good. This is another video in my Sprint and ABC series, and today we're on the letter T and we're talking about tenacity. The tenacity is a determination to continue doing something even when difficult. So let's keep it real. Sprinting is not an easy skill to master. Athletics itself, the sport of track and field, it is not an easy sport at all. And so it's gonna take tenacity if you want to be the best sprinter that you can be. Success can look different for all of us, but for you to succeed, to achieve your personal goals, it's gonna take both mental and physical tenacity. So physically, it's gonna start with training, isn't it? Sprinting is very high intensity, and so you've got to first of all get your body to a place where it's fit enough to be able to do that. That can be physically tiring. You can feel sore. You can feel like, I don't want to do that one more rep. But physically, you're going to have tenacity. Even when it's difficult, you're going to have to continue to push through. Let's say maybe there's times where you do get injured, sometimes where you can't do what you wanted to do because your body is not at the place it needs to be yet. It can become frustrating. You have to have tenacity there as well. When it comes to, say, competitions and you want to compete, you're going to have tenacity there to go through the rounds, to push through where things maybe not going the way that you want them to. And so physically, you're going to have tenacity. You're going to have to go through the pain barriers. You're going to have to go through the hard times, the fun time, and you're going to have to be able to come back again in order to keep progressing, in order to keep moving on in your training, in your competition, in your performance. And to be honest, you couldn't really remove the mental side of the tenacity from the things that I said already. So when it is that physical, let's say that one more rep that you need to do, a lot of times it's actually mind over matter. A lot of time, even though your body may be feeling lactic, although your body may be tired, a lot of time it's the mental side of it, isn't it, that's actually the more difficult. You may have often heard older athletes, more experienced athletes, and even athletes from other sports saying how sport in general, 80% of it is mental. So if you want to become a master sprinter, if you want to get faster, you're gonna need tenacity mentally, right? Because like I said, when it comes to training, when it comes to performance, when it comes to overcoming injuries, when it comes to pushing on to that next level, pushing on to those next goals, it's up here that's gonna count. If you don't have that mental tenacity, that drive, that determination to keep continuing, to keep pushing on when things are difficult, and that difficulty can be even when things are good, because when things are good, you can get complacent. And when things are low, it can become discouraging. And so you need that tenacity wherever you're at on the scale if you want to continue progressing. You know, sprinting is not a team sport in general, apart from when you are doing relay. But maybe you're not even doing sprinting because you want to compete. Maybe it's just for fitness. Mentally, you'll need tenacity because if you're training by yourself very often, it can be hard to stay motivated maybe. To be able to stay self-motivated, to be able to find ways to keep making it interesting, to give yourself enough variations so that you stay motivated, to know your whys, to have the goals and all of that stuff, it can be difficult. And so tenacity is so needed if you want to continue to progress, if you want to be your best, and if you want to move on in your journey, in your 10,000 hour of becoming unconsciously competent and becoming a master in this skill. So most of the time when you're looking for videos about how to get faster, you're only looking at the physical attributes, the physical things that you can do. But hopefully I've done a good enough job in reminding you guys and highlighting to you guys how much mental attributes play a role in your getting faster journey. So if you like this video, guys, please give it a big thumbs up to help me accelerate my channel, to let the algorithm know and to let more athletes like you can see this video. And if now you want some more videos to help you master the mental side of faster, make sure to check out this video or this video, and I'll see you guys on another Friday. Bye guys.